Hello, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever and whatever. I'm the least past group A actually more or less last week. Honestly, almost all tournaments are we've got a match between WallKicks, who is locked up the first seed in Group A, and Chelsea, who is trying to force a tiebreaker race to wins here. So calling this race today, I'm Reg. I'm joined by ALTTPR. So got tournament hard here. Saw it a lot through the qualifiers, but it may have been a hot minute for a few people since they've seen it. What's this mode about?
This mode is a custom mode for the tournament. We've got basically 4 swords placed in the world, but only 3 are available. We've got only green mail, a bunch of heart pieces, and like a handful of heart containers. No half magic. We've got separated bows here, so the bow is out there, the silvers are out there, not progressive. And 1 bottle, and that is it. And so still 7/7 defeat Ganon. Keys are all going to be vanilla, so no key shenanigans. Could be some trolly things there, especially like in those qualifier seeds. Who knows?
Yep. There was a lot going on in the quals. Had 18 of them on this mode. Saw a lot of the effects of non-progressive bows throughout. But we're off here.
This match going to have some really big implications for Chelsea. If she wins, it's going to force a tiebreaker between her and Big Dunka. WallKicks, though, looking to secure that. Already has the #1 spot in the group, but could go 5-1 with a win here, which would eliminate Chelsea from brackets contention. 4 bombs in the Tier 1 pool today. Easy bomb start for both these runners.
Yep. Both runners grabbing 2 of those mean they're already sitting on 9 bombs. No need to farm really anything here. They are both starting with Uncle, which you see a fair bit of in open mode. Some runners prefer starting in Sank, just going to CAC, but 2 pieces.
Yeah, I like the Uncle start. Get the tree pull out of the way. Sometimes I'll even farm the guards to get that Tier 3 pull, but I've even seen some people take early bombs and go straight to escape, because, bomb escape is always fun, right?
It's fun and it's logical. Even in standard mode, Uncle can just give you the 10-pack and tell you, hey, go off, have fun. But with both of them getting plenty of bombs off the Uncle start and the tree pull there, and no boots in hand, absolutely no need to check Lumberjack this early. They can double back to that when it's actually accessible to them later. Just gonna go Lost Woods into the village as normal.
WallKicks opting to skip the mushroom spot first. Finds the flute. Really happy to have that early.
Yep. It's one less trip you gotta make to Kakariko later in the game to activate it. And it's your fast travel option. Can't beat it for a real early starting item.
Kind of like he's flexing that flute playing. He's kind of wondering why the bird isn't coming yet, but you gotta summon the majestic bird from his Kakariko perch in order to fly away with him.
Yeah, and needing to do that, it's kind of unfortunate, like if you pick up the flute somewhere super deep, like on Death Mountain or something, but in that case, you just save and quit when you're done with whatever that route is, and in this case, it doesn't matter at all. Just gotta wait a little more because we're not skipping these Kakariko checks regardless. The 3 heart pieces, which I think means we've seen, what, 6 of them so far?
A lot.
Sword. Yeah.
There are 48 heart pieces in the world now. We are going to find a lot of pieces of heart.
Yeah, it got cut down to 4 heart containers plus the Sank heart for 5 total, and then 48 heart pieces to get you all the way up to 20 hearts, which is a bit different than the traditional hard item pools, but that's what the tournament went with.
Usually in these races, if you see a heart piece and you're not feeling confident in your health, you might pick it up because you know you're not getting any blue mail or red mail.
Yes, like maybe in the early game, but especially once you get towards the mid game, it's pretty reasonable to assume you're going to get enough heart pieces just from checking chests that you can't really skip. And hey, Master Sword.
Master Sword and a powder, so a nice safety item. And an upgraded sword is always good.
Yeah, unfortunately, the safety of the powder doesn't really come into play much in the early game. A nice vanilla bottle there. But once we get towards the late game and especially the last few Dark World dungeons, your Ice Palace, your Mire, your Turtle Rock, your Ganon's Tower, anti-fairies and bunny beams are pretty much everywhere.
That'll be the
That
only
is-
bottle we find in this whole race. Everything else will turn into rupees.
Yep, so if you see any blue rupees, probably means it was another bottle, but don't need it, can't use it. Already have the one for the fetch quest. And honestly, this is pretty much the ideal Kakariko village start, especially as far as not having to double dip it. Only thing that would make this even better is the hammer to handle that magic powder.
We got a map check from Chelsea. Good Crystal, Eastern, and 2 other crystals, Desert and Hera.
You always like seeing the light world crystals because those tend to be the faster and simpler dungeons that you're more inclined to do anyways, especially Tower of Hera and Desert. Eastern, though, in this particular mode, just you gotta watch out for that bow.
Kakariko coming up pretty nice so far. Not a whole lot of like pull for our runners. There's a hookshot in the library. We are probably going to be finding boots this seed.
Yeah, and honestly, I would expect to see them pretty early at that with the flute already in hand. Because my expectation, this looks like either get the boots fairly quickly to use the flute to go up the mountain to use it, or find the lamp fairly quickly and Flipper's hammer or glove, kill Aghanim, and use that hook shot to get across the river in the Dark World.
So WallKicks opting to flute to the dam. Chelsea going for the save and quit, just slightly faster to flute. We saw the small pot in the front of the dam. That would have been half magic, but that has been removed from the pool, and we just get a single small magic pack.
Yeah, it's one of those, this is where I'd put my half magic, if I had one, kind of jokes.
And speaking of boots, they are a little soggy.
Yeah, but WallKicks going right back for that hook shot. And probably, honestly, flute to 1 immediately after he grabs him. Kind of wonder if Chelsea's going to do the same here, or just go out to Mini Moldorm Cave and get that 5 items before heading over.
I could see Moldorm Cave here, just for the 5-pack, and then going right back.
Yeah, because with flute and boots, hookshot, or not hookshot cave, but Ice Rod Cave is pretty much a whenever you want it check. Although Chelsea walking by the Mini Moldorm Cave here. Not sure what she's got in mind. I guess it's Ice Rod Cave. I wonder why not flute to 8 in that case, but maybe the same reason she didn't flute to 7 earlier. I don't know.
Bombo's hanging out in Nagina Cave today.
That could potentially be quite useful. Just, it opens up Ice Palace in addition to potentially Mire Turtle Rock.
Yep.
Of course, if all 3 of the Myths dungeons turn out to be pendants, then you don't really want to see it, but that's rather unlikely.
WallKicks going to show us some boots checks here. Still looking for that first glove, though we can use the flute to get up the mountain.
Yeah.
Speaking of glove.
Yep.
Yeah, love to caster curse it.
Yeah, and he's going to take that glove right to the back of the sewers now for a really quick 3 checks. Meanwhile, Chelsea is skipping Mini Moldorm Cave, going right, well, not going for the Waterfall Fairy without the Water Walk.
Very interesting play here.
Although, didn't Chelsea arm the Water Walk and then go Fake Flipper anyways? I think the
She
intent
did.
was yeah. So the intent for that play was Zora Ledge all along.
Which is just a heart piece.
Yeah.
Maybe trying for some sequence breaky luck here, but now just realizes a bit of a waste of time and is going to have to go back and looks like for a mini Moldorm play here. Going to converge with WallKicks briefly with a high five, but WallKicks has a lot more stuff available right now.
Yeah, of course, Chelsea knows about that hook shot. Can go grab it pretty much whenever, and then we'll have the same set of checks available. Glove doesn't actually do anything besides the back sewers, which was functionally nothing.
And here's our mitts and Moon Pearl, so we got Dark World access right before the 10-minute mark.
And that's the kind of Dark World access that you want before you go to Death Mountain. WallKicks getting well rewarded for not just going straight to 1.
WallKicks gonna finish off these out-of-the-way checks as well. I doubt he makes the flipper checks, or fake flipper in this case. There's just so much available right now that I would probably skip it.
Yeah, and the only one that's actually in logic without the flippers is Zora, which is the exact one he can't afford to do. So, but did walk out.
In this case, I think he set up a water walk as well.
Yeah, it is gonna trigger it right here. I'm expecting he's gonna use this just to get the hobo faster because he's got the Moon Pearl and then do the normal swim back to the Whirlpool Port to get the Waterfall Fairy chest. But no, I'm a liar. He's going straight for...
He wanted to take a look at the island and then he'll run into the waterfall. With the pearl in hand, he can get these checks.
Oh yeah, and then he can just walk right back out and go under the bridge from there.
It's a nice refill of his bottle of blue goo. Meanwhile, Chelsea over on Death Mountain, saving the old man in the dark, did not hit up Bonk Rocks first, so still only has that first glove in hand.
Yeah. Means not going to be able to see the Dark World part of the mountain for an additional 6 items plus Turtle Rock Medallion information, but still going to get a good chunk.
Yeah, this isn't a terrible play because it's one item in Bonk Rocks versus a potential of a lot in the mountain that could hold a hammer, that could hold, I don't know, something else. We know where the other mitts are.
Yeah, something like the hammer, the mirror, the bow would be pretty nice, so would the fire rod. Really, at this point, any Y item except like fetch quest items and like medallions would be a good find. WallKicks here is going to climb the mountain, show us what's on top and inside a Spec Rock before going over to the east side. Looks like nothing on top.
Nothing inside.
Alright, so just a quick hook shot across for him as well, and we'll be in Paradox Cave a bit behind Chelsea.
Paradox Cave, just a love cave today. Bunch of heart pieces, a heart container, nothing else really. Chelsea gonna give us a nice hover across the gap.
Yeah, that works out pretty well.
If you do it fast enough, it saves time. Not much, but it does.
Yeah, most hovers are just marginal time saves over bomb jumping, but the ones where you can't bomb jump is where it can be significant. Of course, here we have the hook shot, so none of those matter, aside from maybe bow side of pod if Chelsea can do that. That one is exceptionally difficult, though.
Red boomerang on Spiral Cave.
That means the entire light world side of the mountain was a bust, and it's very, very likely WallKicks is going to be very well rewarded for waiting for those mitts and moon pearl before coming up here. Meanwhile, Chelsea, unfortunately, rather dead-rocked, entering the cave to reset him.
Curious what her play is here. There's not... I don't
Well,
think there's anything
Spectacle
else she can do on the
Rock, she didn't
mountain.
do that first.
Oh, she didn't check the side. Okay.
Yeah, went straight for the density of Paradox Cave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess I realized now. I said earlier any Y item would be good for these runners to find, but the boomerang, not at all. Especially the red one. That one's just, the strats for that are just more difficult between the increased speed of it and the lag. Pendants.
It looks like
Turtle Rock.
Pendant TR, Green Thieves Town. That's all I saw out of that quick flash.
I saw the blue pendant at Skull Woods.
Okay.
I did not catch where the other red crystal was, though, unfortunately. But this does mean that we could potentially be looking at a no Fire Rod seed with Bombos in hand and Skull Woods Turtle Rock pendants.
Also giving us a quick look at Saha's closet. Nothing in there. While WallKicks checking out Super Bunny Cave with some big money.
Well, that takes us closer to being able to afford whatever Zora's got in Logic for us. Unfortunately, we already know the rest of the area is junk, and we have Dark World access once WallKicks gets off the mountain, so might be a little bit of a wait. And chat saying, or really our tracker, saying that the last red pendant here is Swamp Palace,
Okay.
which we've got the hook shot, so that's not a bad dungeon to have as a crystal.
WallKicks checking out Turtle Rock, seeing that it is in fact a Bombos, which we do have in hand.
That's probably not something you wanted to see if you're WallKicks, but we're still a little ways off from being able to open that dungeon between no hammer, no cane anyways.
Or Fire Rod or Ice Rod. Yeah, we still need a lot for that.
As a pendant dungeon, there's a stronger case to be made for going in rodless, but it's not a good one regardless.
All right, Chelsea finally making the play to Bonk Rocks. Will get her mitts and probably take him immediately back to Kakariko for Dark World. Or she could decide to go back up the mountain and do Super Bunny Hookshot Cave as well.
She could, but it actually turned out the best thing WallKicks got on the mountain was probably that 300 pack.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm actually shocked with the early Flute Hookshot Mitts combo that Death Mountain, outside of potentially Hair and the Ether Tablet, just totally dry.
Get a look at Lumberjack from Chelsea side, just 20 bucks.
Yep, so no need to kill Aghanim for that. The only remaining logical possibility for killing Aghanim would be to get to the east side of the Dark World. But I would expect that both of these runners can do the Kern Jump technique to get fake flippers and get over there.
Mm-hmm.
No
I've seen both of them do that. And yeah, Chelsea confirming the map as well. Interestingly, I just watched the race, I think it was Late Bit and can't remember his opponent, but Fire Rod logically required for that seed as the GT Big Key was on the right side. Neither runner having that Fire Rod and having to resort to the bomb jump with the lamp. Could be a similar thing here if we don't see that Fire Rod.
Yeah, very well could be. It's rather likely that we just kind of stumble into it, even if it's not required for any crystals here. But on the off chance we don't, that bomb jump can be a little bit tricky. Unfortunately, on WallKicks side here, I think, what did we see? A small key, a compass, is it's going to be a big key in one item?
Yeah, having that small key in hand plus another dungeon item really feels bad in Thieves Town, and WallKicks is actually going to just take the note between that and it being a pendant dungeon.
Yeah, I don't blame him for this. One item, you kind of hope he saw more, but not having hammer in hand, it's more likely that there's going to be an item in that big chest.
Right, and being forced to isolate that is really just a bad feeling. The unfortunate part, though, is that with the small key in hand, the hammer does not logically come into play. So it is possible for the addict or even blind himself to be holding it.
Yep.
Good news for WallKicks, though, he is quite rich at this point, so might be hoping for a mirror to show up sooner rather than later, so that he can just route his way all the way around the Dark World to Catfish and then combine Zora into that. Chelsea getting the same front of Thieves Town unfortunate experience as WallKicks there, also taking the note.
I think mirror or flippers would open up Ice Palace for him, so that would be a nice thing to find along this South Dark World route.
Yeah. Of course, grabbing the Smith here is committing to not going to Ice Palace even if the flippers show up. But would need to take the save and quit without a mirror in hand for that anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, we have the flute, so saving and quitting is not a huge deal aside from some very specific locations.
There's Sankheart hanging out on Stumpy.
Yeah, and I think we've seen 2, maybe 3 other heart containers at this point. And WallKicks is on 11.
Yeah, health not going to be too big of an issue this race. Maybe some bosses give us some challenge later, but we got plenty of health. And WallKicks has a blue goo in his bottle from the Waterfall Fairy.
Yep, so very well set up here. And actually, that is one of the things that I kind of like about this item pool. The sheer number of heart pieces kind of just means that your health is going to be on a very smooth curve throughout the seed.
Yep.
You will very rarely play a seed of this mode and find yourself struggling for raw health count. Especially if you're used to playing like a vanilla NMG style speedrun where you finish the game on 13, 14 hearts.
Okay, showing us nothing in Hype Cave other than some small money and some health. We're going to get a quick Smith turn in here. While Chelsea repeats the same Hype Cave checks.
Yep, Chelsea is not very far behind on the route, just has a couple of extra checks that WallKicks has done that she hasn't, like the 2 in the Waterfall Cave, for example, and the Dark Death Mountain being probably the big ones.
Smith having just health as well. We are running out of checks here where this progression could be. Looking for something like a hammer or a mirror or flippers. Ether is going to let us get into Misery Mire today.
That might be a bit of relief for these runners if Ether's not right here, just because no fire and no well, okay, now
there's our fire.
No Samaria Misery Mire. The double dip, a lot of runners, in my experience, are okay with double dipping Mire relative to other dungeons, but I'm still not a huge fan of it myself.
Yeah, it never feels good.
It's one of those things, just the second room with all the whiz robes and then the lobby room are just, by room count, it's definitely smaller than other dungeons to double dip, but those rooms just feel bad to navigate in my experience, even when you do them well.
So Chelsea's going to finish up with these boots checks with the King's Tomb, and WallKicks going to give us our first look into Skull Woods. Yeah. Group A, featuring Big Dunka, always says never skip Skull Woods. That's got to have the progression, right?
I mean, at this point, it's like you said, we are running pretty low on checks. Although we do have between 2 and 3 checks in mostly Sphere 1 Eastern Palace still on the board as well.
Mhm.
And if we want to go out of logic, we could run on over to Palace of Darkness for potentially a lot of checks, especially with WallKicks having Potion in hand.
There's one item in Skullwoods, just 20 bucks.
And there's the second. So Skullwood's a bust.
I don't believe either owner has done the front of Escape either.
Yeah, that's true. And that is also...
And with that lamp in hand, fully in logic.
Yep. And actually, we did see the key to the castle region in the back sewers. I don't think we've seen the map. That's still going to be 3 checks.
Take a quick peek over at Bumper Ledge. Just bombs there today.
Yep, nothing really useful there. While Chelsea made her way over to the Dark Mountain, is learning the unfortunate truth that even though WallKicks was able to do it in one go, he didn't get anything out of it.
WallKicks gonna go back into Thief's Town actually. He says, heck little hammer, and hope it could just be in here. Or something, at least.
Yeah, because at this point, this is also 2, maybe 3 items, depending on the big chest. Plus, it's the green pendant, which WallKicks can go turn that in on his way to Eastern Palace if that's going to be his next play.
Yeah, I don't believe he's done Saha's Closet either, so that's a nice wrap that in with the green pendant turn in.
Right. Chelsea showed us that check earlier, and it was just 3 junk, but it is a fairly dense location for WallKicks at this point, especially if you add the green pendant on top of it.
Oh, and I just well, no, they don't have a hammer. Never mind. I was gonna say fluting to 5 is a possibility, but no, they don't have a hammer to do that yet.
Looks like Chelsea was considering a water walk, but is just going to go for a fake flipper play instead here.
Is she gonna go for Ice Palace? No, she doesn't have Bombos.
No, it's going to be to pay off Zora. And remember, Chelsea's got the waterfall as well, so this is 3 items for her, but Zora is in logic. So
ooh, unfortunate.
Chelsea, yeah. If you
I don't actually know what causes that.
It's the refill.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, that's what makes doing Boots water walk into the waterfall cave always a gamble. Because if you get a refill off of anything in there, you lose your water walk. And if you're doing it with Boots and no Pearl, you can't re-trigger it.
The bombs in Blind Cell. We're down to a 50-50 between the big chest and Blind having the last item.
Yep. And unless you're really rooting for Chelsea here and really rooting hard, I think just for the sake of a good race, you want that item to be either the Dungeon Compass or just nothing in that big chest, and WallKicks never has to come back. And there's Blind down. Very well done on WallKick's side. There's
There is the compass. One item still lingers.
And we cannot know what that item is until we find the hammer. Chelsea doing Dark Cross from the back, which I guess if you're going just for the 1 check, it is the fastest way to get there. Although actually, really, on 12 hearts, Death Warping out of the dungeon kinda sucks.
Yeah.
If you wanted to do it from the front.
Oh, gets a mirror. Hello.
Go figure. The one item that would save you from having the death warp is in that spot.
That always happens, especially when like I'm in pod and I don't have the mirror. It just happens to be in the big chest.
Yeah, so that pretty nice for Chelsea. That's actually Tower of Hera access. Hammer could be up there. We are fully in logic on our checks.
It's also desert access as well.
Yeah, yes, via the mitts and the flute. And Chelsea does have boots and lamps, so if you did visit the Meyer area earlier, desert is fully clearable.
WallKicks gonna opt for Eastern instead. Oh, he's gonna get this green pendant turned in, of course, first.
Yeah, green pendant plus Saha Closet, probably into the dungeon after that. And there's Hammer for Chelsea. So Dark Cross back onto the mountain is the play here.
Yep. Which WallKicks will eventually get pigeonholed into, but it could actually be a while, so this could be a nice lead for Chelsea for a little bit.
Yep. Chelsea going for Herapot here. Just a little tip for people watching this trying to learn this trick using the setup that Chelsea is doing. If you do a boots bonk into that peg, it puts you into the right position to place the bomb, and then you only have to worry about your own placement after the bomb. But Chelsea still gets it first try fairly quickly. Well done. That's 2 items.
2 items.
Of course, no Ether and Samaria in hand does mean that there's really nothing else for Chelsea to do on the mountain at this point, but it is just a quick flute to wherever she wants to go next.
Yeah, WallKicks here probably hoping that there's a vanilla bow in Eastern just for some sort of progression.
That would be the ideal for WallKicks right now, just because with non-progressive bows, that's one of the single worst locations for it. And especially now that we know he's not going to pull the hammer for progression out of here. But it's Chelsea taking the first crystal of the match, about 30 minutes, 50 seconds. Okay. Good news, early big key for WallKicks means that if the bow's not here, at least he wouldn't have to double back to the big chest after doing this last check here.
Yep.
I don't like this check, mostly because it became popular to try to gamble on it when you entered the dungeon and it was 50-50 between this and the boss. And I tried that a couple times and I got burned super hard both times. So now I hate both the check and the gamble. Did Chelsea check Checkerboard Cave?
I think she accidentally fell off the ledge before picking up that
there.
rock.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but
Small
not the
time loss.
slowest thing in the world to boots right back there.
In this case, WallKicks knew there was an item there, but still no bow. So unfortunately, hopefully he'll make the Dark Cross play.
Starting at Sanctuary, this is probably it? No. Is this going to be a Lumberjack check? Because he does have full access to that now.
This is fine because he knows if there's something on Lumberjack, then he'll probably make the full escape into Aga play. Instead, he'll probably be like, well, I guess he'll dip it anyway, but...
Yeah, because at this point, WallKicks pretty low on options, especially in logic ones.
Also going to give us a look into Desert. Small key on the torch probably means the dungeon was boots locked, but we had those very early in the flooded dam area.
Yep, Sphere 1 boots always super nice.
On the big key just hanging out here, so we could have beaten it if we somehow didn't have the boots, but it wouldn't have been a logical clear.
Yeah, but logic is largely optional for things like this. It can be
Yeah.
used to inform decisions, but there's no reason to hold to it like gospel for the most part.
WallKicks is going to show us the front of escape that we haven't seen yet. So, map in the first chest. We know Dark Cross had the other item. So 2 items left in here.
Yep. And then I'm assuming he's going to set up the death warp on the ball and chain guard so that he can go back and get that mirror.
Yeah, that'll be the only unfortunate thing he'll be unhappy to see is, well, I had to death warp out of here for this.
I don't think he's happy to see that single arrow either.
Well, yeah. One of the nice things about Tournament Hard, even if you do have a lot of health, you're still out in green mail, so you'll take a lot of damage. So at least you're not bogged down by blue mail or red mail to slow that.
Yeah, like trying to death warp on 7 hard red mail, it might actually be faster to save and quit. Getting the first 7 hits on the ball and chain guard there, then intentionally knocking himself down to half a heart, and gonna just use the bomb instead of relying on the green guard.
Oh,
luckily no
okay.
recall.
I got scared for WallKicks for a second there. If that heart piece had filled him up, I'm sure he would not have been happy.
Yeah, that could have been one of those images from moments before disaster. Meanwhile, Chelsea using a combination of Master Sword and Hammer against the Lamolas here. Light World boss tables are weird, such that Master Sword is at best equivalent to the Fighter Sword damage-wise on them. And I think in several cases, or some cases at least, it's worse. But spins do 4 times the damage because they do the same class as Tempered Sword, which is normal damage relative to Fighter Sword. It's really silly.
Alright, so WallKicks finally finds his mirror, while Chelsea goes up 2 crystals to none over WallKicks.
WallKicks is not immediately taking that mirror to Tower of Hera either. It is going to take it to Desert instead.
Oh, did Chelsea do the back first before getting the second item in Desert?
Yeah, because went to the right side, and then the right side was item plus compass. So took the mirror back to the far left entrance, gambled on Lamola having the last item versus the big chest.
Oh, and a good thing she went back too. There's our flippers. That is a fully available Swamp Palace.
And it is also a fully available Ice Palace.
Yeah, Chelsea needs to make her way over to Agina, which is right here, as it turns out. And then she'll have the option of Swamp versus Ice Palace. You probably do Swamp here, just because Ice would be a lot nicer to have Samaria first time through. And of course, oh no, we have the hammer now.
Yep. And yeah, I kind of expect Swamp to be first for Chelsea with that same logic. But I expect Chelsea's next 2 plays to be exactly those 2 in some order. Looks like Swamp first, yeah. Because Chelsea's been putting on a pretty solid dungeon focus here ever since getting Dark World access. I should say Crystal Dungeon focus specifically, not Thieves Town so much.
Yeah, and assuming she finds more progression along the way, she probably never goes back to Thieves Town.
Yeah, especially we know that there's literally no need for it unless exactly Ether's on the Master Sword pedestal. That is the only possible case at this point.
Of course, there is one item we didn't see in Thieves Town in the big chest, so there is a possibility.
That is true, and I also lied. We could have a bow there as well. Both Eastern Pod being crystals. But that would require a lot of items that we do not have and do not want to have showing up in fairly short order. I will say though, 4.5 hearts in Swamp Palace. Chelsea got to be at least a little careful here. There's a lot of ways to just take incidental chip damage in Swamp.
Mm-hmm. I don't recall if she filled up that bottle from... No, I don't think she did from the waterfall.
I'm pretty sure she did after getting the refill and being kicked out, going back in, refill plus second chest.
Okay.
But would still hate to burn it in a situation like this rather than trying to save it for endgame where you can get both health and magic out of it. WallKicks doing very well getting the double spins there, despite the slightly desynced Mola spawns.
Got a nice kill on that second one with like the basically first frame hit on it.
Yeah, the first frame hit that only really happened because of the knockback from hitting the first one. That was pretty impressive.
That was obviously planned by WallKicks. Totally.
You could tell me that and I would totally believe it.
Yeah, WallKicks making the same gamble for item on Landmo as well. Not paying off, and it's going to go right back in. Good thing as well, so we can get those flippers.
Yeah, and that's a fairly standard play there, just because the cost of going back in is really small if it turns out to be wrong. But you save a good few seconds if it turns out right. Of course, WallKicks, no hammer, means that neither swamp nor ice are at all appealing plays for him right now.
Yeah. I imagine he should be thinking about Hera, and he is fluting away, so this looks like it'll be a Hera play from him.
Yeah, flute to 1, there's nothing else on the mountain for WallKicks at this point, so...
Chelsea showing us a nice bomb diver down, doing the left side of Swamp. Not going to skip anything in here today.
Bomb diver down is basically the same principle as the famous hammer jump in Palace of Darkness. Bomb knocks you into the rail, and from there you can jump onto the water that is only water if you go through the stairs.
Chelsea doing that hook clip through that I've seen so many runners do nowadays, and I'm super curious why people do that, because it looks like swag maybe saves like a few frames if you get it, but can lose so much time if you mess it up.
It's swag. Do you need another reason? That's
yeah, okay.
Pretty much it.
Can't argue with swag, I guess.
Yeah, it's the same reason that people still do the chicken clip, despite the risk of semi-soft locking yourself in there.
I have been burned by doing that a few times, so I've converted my ways. Those chickens live in my books.
Meanwhile, we saw WallKicks with a very impressive super speed Harapot there. And I'm always impressed by people who can get that like first or second try, just because super speed is super finicky in my experience for getting precise placements.
Second bomb diver down for the flooded room, swamp, map and compass there.
Yeah, I mean, I know that we hadn't seen any dungeon items to this point, but that's kind of insulting.
Well, doing left side first, it's like, okay, I'm gambling for items here, and then you see those two items there, it's like, you know, screw you, left side swamp skippers.
Yeah. Although when big key is on left side, especially leading into an item, it is pretty well rewarded to do that first rather than coming back in for it, just because you have to double back anyways in that case, as opposed to coming back in after. Oh, here's a new check. WallKicks gonna take his 14 hearts blue potion and brute force spike cave.
14 hearts should be the minimum he can do this. I mean, he might choose to pop the potion anyway.
I think with hookshot he's good here. He's gonna
play it safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't blame him for that. Oh, Kit's rewarded with a fire rod, which we may not even need at this point.
Yeah, I really hesitate to call that rewarded. It could just be a big rabbit hole. Like, if I'm WallKicks, I do not follow that fire rod in the slightest until I find an invincibility item.
That's true, yeah.
Just
We
the last
know
thing that you
Skull
wanna
has no
do-
items left, so... And I believe WallKicks showed us that.
Yes, WallKicks does know that. So really, it's just Turtle Rock. So yeah, just nice tempered sword for killing Argus there. Would have
We'll
loved
take
to
those,
have
we
that
take
before
those.
the fight. Yeah.
That's always the case. The boss that wants the upgraded sword drops the upgraded sword. Happens every time. Looking at you, Cold Stare.
Yeah, that will make Cold Stare relatively nice for Chelsea, especially since Tempered is the highest level sword we're going to be getting. I'm assuming flip to 8 for Chelsea here. Yep, just following the crystal train.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like WallKicks went and checked that cave south of the grove and now is doubling back for Swamp himself.
Also gonna do this quick man of the bridge check as well, which I don't think we saw.
No, we thought WallKicks was going to water walk to it earlier, but then just took it to the Zora region instead. Is nothing regardless though.
I don't know, that fire rod could be required for right side GT.
Logically required, yes. But if nothing in Turtle Rock is required, then it really is just a big rabbit hole. Unless Chelsea has not practiced that bomb jump. Here's going to be Ice Palace as WallKicks is following Chelsea on the route. Roughly a full Swamp Palace clear behind, but with a few extra checks in his back pocket that Chelsea could theoretically return to after this.
Yeah, this Ice Palace will go a little bit faster for WallKicks just because he has that fire rod. Chelsea not really too worried though with having it bombos at least, but it will make things just a hair slower. Both runners here, though, unless Samaria shows up in this first chest, we will see the good old Ice Palace bomb jump.
Yep. Classic technique right there. Honestly, though, the way that this seed has developed, I'm kind of expecting this to be a bow. Or really something in this dungeon to be a bow, and then Chelsea to just keep doing crystals. That's just the kind of feeling I get from the way this has gone so far.
I could speculate even worse things, like we find Ether in here, which leads us to Meyer, which finds us a bow, which finds us Samaria in Pod or something. I don't know. Yes, I chose violence today. I want these runners to work for it.
That's respectable. It does feel like crystal dungeons in general have been the play this seed, and Chelsea has gone aggressively for that and been rewarded. Unfortunately, her bomb there was too low, could not hit both the Saltos Knights.
And this is interesting. Chelsea has one bomb. She does know how to hover, so this shouldn't be too much of an issue for her.
Yeah, I'm expecting the hover instead of the bomb jump here.
WallKicks getting the playing it safer and not doing the hook push, whatever you want to call it, block clip.
Yeah, let's not call it a hook push just because community has already appropriated that term.
That's
something.
fair.
We are never seeing hook pushes in this tournament, but
Much to the
it is
dismay
a
of
thing.
some runners.
And yeah, Chelsea got the hover. Kind of expect it after seeing the one in Paradox Cave.
Yeah, Chelsea, a known advocate for loving these quote-unquote hover seeds. Unfortunately, having the hook shot is good, kind of defeats that purpose, but still likes to show it off wherever she can.
Yeah, hook shot behind the boots. kind of helps a little bit for that. But not when the hook shot is sphere 2 and the boots are sphere 1.
And there's our ice rod sitting in Ice Palace, very well temperature controlled.
Yeah, if you're gonna see a rod, you definitely want to see ice before fire in pretty much every situation. Just because it means no risk of having to dip Turtle Rock without it. Now here's Diver Down from WallKicks, just to get a map and a compass in one of the most insulting rooms in the game. I guess this is still better than them both being left side, though.
Mm-hmm. You hope they never show up, but if they do show up exactly right there, you're kind of salty, to be honest.
Yeah.
But having done left side first already, you knew you had to run into them at some point.
Yeah, that's also true. They're just... The only way to avoid a situation like that is to play Key Sanity, which at the same time can make the problem significantly worse.
Or you already are in go mode and you just skip all the checks in Swamp Palace. Unfortunately, not the case going to be here today.
Not today, but is generically possible at least. Now we've seen 2 items in ice so far, I believe. I think we saw that ice rod and a piece of heart. There's still one more to be found. Chelsea is taking to the right side first before going to the boss. But I say first, it's already been to Ice Tea, so it's just the way routing turned out this seed for this dungeon with the key available.
Gotta remember to pull that tongue here if you want this other item. Always eludes runners when they don't have the Samaria.
Yeah, unfortunate, but...
Oh, and there's our bow.
That's kind of what I thought. And there's WallKicks with Argus down, probably going to follow to Ice right after. No real reason not to in his shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I was wrong, we had only seen 1 item.
And yeah, it looks like WallKicks will head on over to Ice Palace as well.
Yep, so gonna get that bow, which makes Pod and Eastern the very obvious next 2 plays after Ice. And then from there, we'll probably have more progression opened up to us.
Probably.
If not just in go mode. Although actually, we've seen Eastern Palace on WallKick's side, or was that on Chelsea's side? It was on somebody's side.
That was on WallKick's side.
Yeah.
Who
So
opted to go for Eastern before Hera.
yeah. So we know that unless the Armos Knights are still holding out on us, there's nothing of note in Eastern. But Palace of Darkness is a lot of items.
Yeah, and if you're Chelsea, I would prefer Pod first, just because you know it's more item dense. And you can always mirror to Eastern right after. As opposed to doing Eastern first, then you have to take a double mirror, and then it just gets small optimizations there.
Yeah, I like Eastern first if you don't have the mirror specifically, just because mirror does help routing Pod a bit. So you do Eastern first in hopes of finding it there. But otherwise, if you don't have the mirror, you're not making that play to begin with. I don't even know what I'm talking about.
True. And I missed what the third item was, because that was just a small key on Cold Stare. So it's probably nothing.
Well, there was the Ice Rod, there was the bow, and then there was that red 20 after the bow.
Ah, red 20, of course. Can't forget about that.
In that spike room.
Yeah, Chelsea gonna go for the pod play here. Very telling with the bow in Ice Palace.
Yeah, and just very consistent with the way that she's played this seed so far.
Mm-hmm.
Really, the only question to me is, does Chelsea do the bow side of pod hover? With the bow, you don't really need to, but it can still be a time save as opposed to going through that whole thing if you can get it quickly.
That hover a little more tricky just because you have to like switch directions mid hover, so can be a little
Right.
harder for some people.
And that's
I'm
the
not
only
s-
reason I'm questioning it instead of just assuming that she can do it.
You may even decide to, assuming the big key is early, go straight for Helma and then finish up the dungeon afterwards, assuming nothing comes along the way.
Yep, that's a very viable way to do things. First chest small key though. So now how do you route this, Chelsea? Okay, not going to the bow side. Normal routing here would get presumably a small key off the bridge chest here, and then turn around, go for the vanilla big key chest on that ledge there, and then to the back. And then hopefully you find the big key before you hammer jump, mirror out, and then go bow side to the boss. But oftentimes key layouts don't allow for something so ideal.
Yeah, pretty standard route that I would make the same. Unfortunately, trade small key for small key here, because of course.
Of course, but it is further information. Quake, not useful.
No, not going to need that.
We know that there is at least one small key on the bow side because there does have to be 4 in the front section. And gonna just do the bow side now after this warping.
And with the hammer, this is fine, just to go from bow side to the back.
Yep, and if the big key is here, that does enable the Helmasaur play that you were talking about. Meanwhile, WallKicks side here, the routing is following pretty much the exact same route that Chelsea took through this dungeon. Has the Ice Rod, gonna get the bow once he finishes climbing the right side of this dungeon, gonna grab that red rupee and then be on to Cold Stare afterwards. For Chelsea, no big key means no boss. Is gonna reset the room before hitting that crystal switch and onto the back.
Yeah, finding the inventory clutter item, aka the bug net. It's like finding the X-ray in Super Metroid. It just takes up an extra slot that you didn't really want.
Yeah, the bug net is so relevant that it's the one item we don't actually track on the SpeedGaming tracker. Because they had to take something off to make room for Ganon's Tower. Because we're using the same tracker for Key Sanity and non-Key Sanity modes in this tournament, rather than trying to switch after the mode is rolled.
Found our big key in Turtle Chest and just one small key in the basement. Should guarantee a small key in Harmless Hellway here.
Yep.
Indeed, yeah.
Because the randomizer does not allow a small key to be in the dark maze, despite that being the vanilla layout. Just because it is one door blocking 3 chests, and if there was a small key back there, plus some other progression, it would be possible to lock yourself out of that progression.
Also opting for a hammer jump here instead of just opening the door, which I guess can be a little bit faster if you get the bomb jump quick enough. You're not having to walk through as many hallways in the dark maze.
Yep. It is contingent on getting that jump fast, though. Which I think this is still fast enough to be at least comparable, if not still a time save.
Mm-hmm.
It does take a good number of buffers to make hammer jump not a time save, especially in the vanilla case where you're just checking the big chest plus that lower chest. Which actually, for those who... Oh, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, Chelsea gave us a quick inventory flash, seeing if she had map or compass, realizing that one more item still in the dark maze, and we'll see the other dungeon item on Helmasaur, because that was all the items in Pod.
Yep. On WallKicks side, that is Cold Stare down, so crystal count is even back up between the two runners, at least until Chelsea gets to Helmasaur. But
I imagine
do
the
wanna-
WallKicks next play is also going to be pod.
with that bow, yeah.
Yeah.
He hasn't paid Zora yet, so he's going to do that first.
Interesting that he's doing this because we haven't seen a catfish play yet, and catfish into Zora is such a nice thing with the mirror. But he's choosing to go this route instead.
Yeah, and we haven't seen Graveyard Ledge yet either, have we?
Nope.
Yeah, because that would be the way that I would expect both of these runners to get to the catfish, with mirror plus flippers in hand. But WallKicks wanted to knock out this quick early spear check right away.
So Chelsea's going to head to Helma here and probably mirror to Eastern. We know there's nothing in the front of Eastern. Still haven't seen Armos yet, of course. But we are, again, quickly running out of checks to do for progression, looking for that Ether Medallion for Misery Mire, as well as the Cane of Samaria, which will let us finish the dungeon. And if we do see Cane first, Turtle Rock is actually a play.
Yep. So what you want to do is you want to see Ether first. If you're these runners, it's just kind of paradoxical because that opens up Mire without you being able to full clear it. But it does guarantee you won't have to touch Turtle Rock.
Right.
And also, chat bringing up a good reminder, Eastern Palace is the second 5/6 crystal. That does open up Pyramid Fairy. And with Helmasaur down for Chelsea here, it's going to be crystal number 5. Eastern will be 6, and then Pyramid Fairy probably going to be the next play for her after that, if I had to guess. Just because I think the only other alternative she's really got are Purple Chest, which we saw on WallKicks side and know to be junk. Back of Thieves Town, and then Hammer Pegs plus Magic Bat we haven't seen yet either.
Welcome in, folks from SpeedGaming 4. We are in the middle of this tournament hard race between Group A's, WallKicks, and ChelseyxLynn. Chelsea fighting for her tournament life. A win here would force a tiebreaker match between herself and Big Dunka, while a win from WallKicks here would solidify his already #1 Group A spot at 5-1.
Yep, and chat talking about that Spike K Fire Rod, which is the biggest difference between what these two runners have lit up on their trackers at the moment. I would like to direct their attention to the Skull Woods and Turtle Rock slots on the tracker. Both of those dungeons are pendants, and we had Bombos to do Ice Palace. That Fire Rod could be one of the bigger baits of the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, if the Magic Cape or the Cane of Burna shows up somewhere and puts that Fire Rod in the logic, and we find the Cane of Samaria before the Ether Medallion, all bets are off.
Right.
Because that would put Turtle Rock into logic.
So while these runners are going over some checks that we've seen from both sides, be sure to give them each a follow. Both their channels are amazing. They're awesome. Link to the past players. And both are, well, hopefully we'll definitely see more of WallKicks in this tournament. Hopefully we'll see more of Chelsea. But
Yep, and for anybody who is not watching this race live on Twitch, their URLs are just twitch.tv/ and then the names you see in the chat as they're written, WallKicks and ChelseyxLynn. So feel free to drop by and give them a follow too, wherever you're watching this from. And then also, while we're here and while Chelsea's about to start making her way to the Armos Knights, also shout out to our tracker Toffile for keeping everything lit up, pressing buttons, letting us just talk. Chelsea through the dark, which with the lamp makes it pretty simple. But Armos Knights are the last chance for progression in either of these crystal dungeons directly. Mentioned before, we still got Pyramid Fairy as an option afterwards that Eastern Palace does open up.
I could see Pyramid Fairy as a good next play. I don't think we've seen the Pyramid Ledge check yet either.
Nope, so we route those two in together. Chelsea can choose to route that to Catfish and Graveyard Ledge in there as well if she wants to afterwards. Those are all reasonably close together. And then from there, I mean, we know that something's going to turn up in those checks because, well, I say that, it could be literally just Magic Bat plus Hammer Pegs. But odds are pretty good something's going to turn up in that sequence of checks, especially with Armos coming up jump.
Yeah, just a refill of arrows here, but crystal number 6 for Chelsea. And still 2 items from Go Mode.
One of those items blocking entry to the last crystal, and one of them blocking only the boss. And yeah, we still do have the Thieves Town big chest in play as well, but with Chelsea not having been to the back of Thieves Town at all, she'll route all those in together if she needs to go into Thieves Town at all, which I'm not really expecting.
This looks like it's going to be a Pyramid Fairy play here from Chelsea.
Yep. Unfortunately, no Aghanim kill to make the shortcut for the bomb, but it's still not too bad just to get over there with the hammer in the relatively normal way.
Yeah, we were talking earlier as well with Eternity hard settings and having all these heart pieces. Both our runners very healthy with their health bars at the moment. WallKicks at 16 hearts. Shouldn't be feeling any pressure at all from here on out.
Yeah, even Chelsea with fewer checks in her pocket is still on 15 here. Really solid defensively. And that's Helmasaur down to WallKicks. That's going to tie the crystal count. Actually, no, it's not yet. Still got to do Eastern to tie it, yeah. That is still 5 crystals for him, and only the Armos Knights left in Eastern Palace, so it won't be too long for him to run back there.
Yeah, Pyramid Ledge, just 100 hanging out there. Pyramid Fairy has Arcane of Samaria, which we were saying earlier is nice to have before. However, Turtle Rock is on the table.
Now I'm kind of curious about the key layout inside Turtle Rock, because that Fire Rod's still not in Logic. However,
this is true.
The depths of Turtle Rock that you can reach without it depend entirely on how the keys are randomized in that dungeon and what's on that Fire Rod lock side. Because it is possible Chelsea go into Turtle Rock and then just get kicked out immediately.
That's probably what she's hoping for. However, if you do get immediately kicked out of Turtle Rock, I would imagine she would head on over to Spike Cave and then kind of kick herself for doing it in that order.
Yeah, but I think that still assumes that an invincibility item gets found. Because without that, it's still not in Logic to go deeper. Right. And honestly, it's just kind of possible at this point that both invincibility items are kind of just buried, like in Ganon's Tower. Because we still do not need that Fire Rod to clear the seed, unless Turtle Rock is hiding ether behind it.
Which would just be super rude game, like really.
Yeah. You don't want to see that.
Chelsea hasn't yet done these mirror checks, which, no, we haven't even seen Graveyard Ledge. So this will be a new check.
We've seen most of the other mirror checks. Haven't seen Bombo's tablet because no book, but we have seen the rest between the two runners at this point.
Just a hard container, Graveyard Ledge. While WallKicks finishes up Armos Knights and gives us a tie, 6 crystals with 6 crystals at the moment. Well, we are just looking for the Ether Medallion.
Yeah, presumably WallKicks' next play is going to be Pyramid Fairy as well. And then it's just a question of what comes after that. Chelsea, I think, is going to Thieves Town. Still has the entire back, including the big chest that WallKicks isolated earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, did Chelsea do Skull Woods earlier? We know that that's 2 junk items in the front, but that's also something on the table for her.
I honestly don't remember if she did. And I really don't think so, but I can't remember. Thieves Town is probably the more dense play anyway.
Yeah, especially since
It does
it's
also have the green
easy.
pendant, which we know
Chelsea
is
has the
nothing,
entire
but
Smith chain.
that too.
So yeah, this region of the world is still a lot of checks for Chelsea. Meanwhile, for WallKicks... Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, I haven't yet seen hammer pegs as well, so some new info here.
Yeah, WallKicks did both Smith and Purple Chest freehand. So couldn't do hammer pegs at the time, couldn't do Magic Bat either, even though we got that powder sphere 1, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Chelsea gonna turn in the Smith, grab the purple chest, take the purple chest into the drop down, check the Magic Bat, and then I would expect to turn in that purple chest and go into Thieves Town afterwards.
If your WallKicks here, find the Samaria, but still lacking your medallion, is your next play going to be Turtle Rock, you think?
It really depends on how much he wants to follow that Fire Rod logic and how much he's concerned about it just being bait. Because for him, Turtle Rock is a very reasonable play.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it is possible, somebody in chat said it earlier, it is possible just like Cape or Burna in that first chest. And the logic of the seed says, use that, go get Fire Rod, and come right back.
WallKicks going to give us a Graveyard Ledge look first. I don't think he's done Catfish either.
Nope, he's doing this first, and then he'll walk back. Meanwhile, Chelsea got silver arrows at the Magic Bat. Not progressive, but still great. No, so just as a reminder for chat, since I know we've been raided a time or two, may not have seen the earlier portions of the race, but WallKicks has dipped Skull Woods. Did get both items out of the front. So at this point, the only reason to go back into Skull Woods for him would be to clear it for the pendant to get whatever's on the Master Sword pedestal. Definitely would expect to see him go to Turtle Rock before Skull Woods here.
Certainly possible at this point that Ether sitting on that pedestal.
Possible, yeah. Just not terribly likely.
Meanwhile, Chelsea going to finish off the front of Escape. Haven't seen the rest of that from her. We know it's nothing based on what WallKicks has already done.
I'm surprised that she didn't just mirror to this after doing pyramid checks. Because of that, I just kind of assumed that she'd already done it and I forgot.
Yeah, at this point, it's when you put off Escape for so long, you're kind of just hoping that it's never here, or you're going to probably force yourself into last locationing it. Because it's such an early thing that you're just assuming your opponent already did it.
That's true, yeah. It's just at the same time, I live for the routing smoothness of doing things like mirroring from Pyramid to Escape in open mode. That stuff is so much fun to watch. Getting single arrows is not very fun, though.
Mm-hmm. WallKicks is going to make the return back to Thieves Town for the one check.
Yeah, this is going to be Hammer Pegs and Magic Bat first, I would imagine. Approaching it from the Dark World so that he can do Hammer Pegs in there efficiently. Might get back in afterwards, though. Yeah, because at this point, WallKicks doesn't have that many checks left. And if no invincibility item turns up, then it's just Fire Rod not in logic, but Turtle Rock still is until he gets logically key locked.
Mm-hmm. We'll get his silver arrows here, which is nice to find. Just not helpful in terms of where the seed wants us to go.
Yeah, it's back to the Dark World from Link's house for Chelsea here. Did she not do the cave by the Haunted Grove earlier, I guess? Must not have.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so this is going to be what that check is. And then Chelsea has the choice between back of Thieves Town or no Fire Rod Turtle Rock. WallKicks is very much factoring in the Fire Rod logic here, going for the Thieves Town big chest.
Yeah, he's hoping for something in here. Otherwise, we're gonna see the inside of Turtle Rock. Whether that be our
Yeah.
Ether Medallion or a fetch quest item like Mushroom or Shovel or Book.
Book would be the worst thing to find here, just because both of the checks it opens are just far away and in obnoxious places.
Mm-hmm. In some regards, every fetch quest item is like that, but
Yeah, but at least
this
with
point.
Shovel and Mushroom Flute make them not terrible to turn in.
Oh yeah, Chelsea is gonna dip Skullwoods as well. Did not actually do it the first time through.
Yep. We know, unfortunately, 2 junk items in the front. So what's in here?
Big 20.
Nothing. So it is Turtle Rock. There's actually just nothing else left. And it is going to be probably the first chest of Turtle Rock, but keys could be laid out in a fairly rude manner.
We could see something like Small Key in the first chest, or Burna or Cape, which puts that Fire Rod in Logic.
Yeah, I think we need small key, and then vanilla big key, and then small key in the big chest to get us to Laser Bridge. Like, I think it has to be exactly that layout off the top of my head.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing here, Chelsea not going to find anything in Skullwoods and is probably going to head to the back of Thieves Town and still be out of luck there.
Yeah, because for Chelsea, the back of Thieves Town is the most dense play she's got left. For WallKicks here, the presumption is that we're going to find the invincibility item here. But I don't even know what to expect out of this, what the key layout's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the invincibility item here is what puts that Fire Rod into Logic, which puts the entire Turtle Rock into Logic regardless of key layout. So it could literally be just invuln item here, 2 keys on the right, and go.
Test number 1, Small Key. We can push onward logically.
Yep, but WallKicks is going to take the efficiency and go for the Fire Rod lock side, because this could be his Ether. We're at the point where Logic really doesn't matter much anymore for this.
Yeah. At this point, it could be something like Burna in Chain Jump or Lava Chest, which points you back this way anyway, so you might as well just get it out of the way.
Yep.
The shield! Forgot to mention, we're only getting 1 shield in this as well.
Oh, yeah. Little baby shield. Can't even get the fire shield to stop fireballs. So this next check is going to be interesting. If it's not a small key, then it has to be an invuln item. So it's probably going to be a small key.
would lead to a vanilla big key.
Yeah, this can't be the big key, so... shovel
A
to
shovel.
an involvement. Well, it could be shovel to ether, actually. WallKicks is trying to figure out what the heck that means. He's bailing.
Interesting.
Oh, he's not bailing.
Oh, wait, no.
He was gonna bail.
WallKicks is torn.
WallKicks, I don't know if he remembers that fire rod heavily not in logic or not, but I'm like 90% sure that that shovel is just going to reveal either Burna or Cape. And then you'd have to get your fire rod out of Spike Cave and come back to Turtle Rock here to proceed. But there is that remaining possibility that shovel is ether or a fetch quest leading to it.
Yep.
In which case bailing would actually be the correct play. We have no way of knowing.
Meanwhile, Chelsea gonna engage the blind fight. Starts off the script very nicely. 6 hits in, 3 more. And textbook takedown.
Yep. It is worth noting, the further left blind is, the better you did the fight, if you're following the usual pattern. Because blind's movement is deterministic. If you do the same thing every time, he'll do the same thing every time. And the ideal pattern is just holding your sword out and poking him on the first frame he's vulnerable every single time. And he'll be pretty far to the left when you kill him if you do that.
But Chelsea's probably going to turn that green pennant in right away. Still looking for, obviously, ether, but she might not even want to dip Turtle Rock without the fire rod.
Yeah, that's probably the big factor keeping her away right now, because it could literally just be you go up the mountain for Turtle Rock with no fire rod, and then there's a compass in the first chest, and you're just locked out. And you just wasted a mountain climb.
Where are we going next, Chelsea? I feel like all that she has left is Turtle Rock and Spike Cave. I could be missing something. There is our Ether Medallion. Chilling with the Mimics.
So that does mean that Shovel blocks an invincibility item to put this into logic, and WallKicks is in go mode at the 121 mark. So yeah, even though he mirrored back to the front of dungeon, WallKicks made the right call not to bail on Turtle Rock there. And of course, Chelsea doing Spike Cave first, so as long as she doesn't bail on that shovel, is gonna be able to be into go mode a few minutes behind WallKicks at this point. And I think Chelsea at this point, pulling that fire rod, knows. She just knows.
Is the answer. Yeah.
And just, I can't imagine that feels super good.
No, especially with some sort of progression item in Spike Cave. That never is a good thing. And I believe that was the last location for her as well.
No, last location outside of Turtle Rock, yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, WallKicks here in Mire took a hit from a Wizrobe in Mire 2, which those things do a ton of damage, so he's only on 6 hearts. Does have the powder, but he's got to go through the spike room first, with no invincibility item.
I think he got a fairy in his bottle when he did Pyramid Fairy, so
Oh
it's
yeah,
not...
Pyramid Fairy was giving those out for free. So yeah, it's not really a big concern.
Yeah.
But you'd still rather not burn it if you don't need to. Yeah, powder here. Said it super early in the race when powder was found in whatever Sphere 1 check it was, but there are anti-fairies pretty much everywhere in the last few dungeons.
WallKicks opting for the faster checks, wanting to skip the torches.
Kind of surprised he didn't get the north torches check before coming all the way to the right side here, but yeah, especially because north torches check could be just the big key, but it
There's
could
our
also
book.
be yeah, not feeling great to see that in go mode, but it doesn't hurt anything. At least we have no reason to follow it at this point.
At least he's now literate, for what that's worth.
Yeah, literate, but with nothing to read.
It's that big key in the North Torches room.
Yep. So it is just going to be straight off to the boss from here. But I'm still a little bit surprised that he didn't take that check before the lobby chest or the right side chest, just because it is relatively fast. And it could tell you straight up whether the big key is in the slow cutscene chest or not.
True.
If there's... Sorry.
We were going to say the same thing. If that's a small key there, that guarantees there's going to be a big key vanilla.
Yep. And that is basically the only thing in Misery Mire that has any sort of key logic to it. So Chelsea about to get that shovel. Question is, does she bail? No.
No.
No hesitation there. And
At this point, I doubt she's thinking about fire rod logic, but I would just say she's probably just going to keep on pushing on until she gets stopped somewhere or finds go mode.
Even if you are thinking about fire rod logic, I think pushing on here is the correct play, just because the odds that that shovel leads directly to your fire rod instead of your ether is pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
There are more items left in Turtle Rock than there are in Misery Mire at this point. Chelsea does need to go get the big key, though. It is vanilla.
Well, no, we can just
Actually, yeah, you're
skip
right.
that because the Mimic Cave had our
does not
ether.
require. Yeah, that's true. I had a silly moment. From her perspective, not grabbing that big key is rather questionable. Just because, for all she knows, ether could be on Razor Bridge during the big chest. But she's gonna get bailed out because ether is just in Mimic Cave.
Meanwhile, WallKicks with the silver arrows takes down Vitreous rather quick and is off to Ganon's tower, where we are going to need some numbers flying through the chat room. It'll tell us where you think the Ganon's tower big key is today between 1 and 22 checks.
Yep, 22 checks in the basement. Exactly one of them has a big key, and it could be any of them.
And Chelsea finding that ether medallion hits her go mode, 126 and change, about 40 seconds or so.
So about 5 and 40 behind. Or just putting it more simply, a full Misery Mire and about half a mountain climb behind.
Yeah, if Chelsea makes the first Torches room play first, she'll save a little time there. It could come down to GT routing.
Yeah, it could be like if WallKicks goes full left and it's on the right, and Chelsea goes to the right, then could potentially pull it to within some execution errors on WallKicks' side. But WallKicks very definitively ahead at this point, in the driver's seat for sure.
Yeah, he's got that tempered, he's got silvers, he's got a fairy in a bottle, plenty of health.
Yeah, it would take something like running out of magic, and Torches won't with that fairy probably.
Yeah, Chelsea getting a little hecked up in Mire 2 here. Makes it through. Fortunately, though, her magic very low and is probably going to need a drop to refill that, unless she has some potion I'm not sure about.
Yeah, I don't remember if she's got a potion or not. WallKicks, 2 small keys in Hope Room is taking them to the right side. And if we'd never found the fire rod, which is actually impossible this seed just because the Aether was hard blocked behind it, we would see WallKicks doing a bomb jump in this room. Okay, I do see Chelsea has blue potion, has it equipped right now. He's gonna just down it to do torches.
Number 3, 20. Number 4, 20. Number 5, 20, 20. And number 6, $5. So that would have been gold sword there.
Yep. Not that WallKicks needs it in the slightest here. Oh my god, this torch was just another small key for WallKicks there. So we've seen 3 of the 4 so far, not including the pot keys.
This checks 8, 9, 10, and 11. And number 11 today.
I think some people in chat said that. Yeah, shoutouts to the people in chat that said 11. You won the arbitrary number guessing game.
So Chelsea goes full left. Can make up some time there. But again, she still has to finish off Vitreous, and at this point, not looking great.
Still has to finish off Vitreous, climb the mountain, while WallKicks is already on the climb here. So it's going to take more than just clean play from Chelsea at this point, but still looking forward to seeing how she finishes out the seed, because she played a very Crystal Dungeon heavy route this seed, and right up until that Aether hunt was really, really well rewarded for it. But just put off Turtle Rock too long because that Fire Rod was in Spike Cave, which is pretty much the worst possible location for it with how this stuff broke down. This was a logical double dip Pendant Turtle Rock seed. Why?
Because Rando's gonna Rando. I want to shout out WallKicks doing that fall off the cannonball room first to get those iframes without the logical invuln item that we needed. It's gonna go for that strat instead, which I've never seen before. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it only really works with the boots, because otherwise you're not fast enough to walk through before the iframes wear off. But a lot of runners do favor that strat.
Makes it through the rest of the Ice Gauntlet, facing land mode 2 here. 3 Quicksilver arrows will be easy enough for him.
Didn't get bopped by that shooter either. That really obnoxious shooter. The one reason I actually like having Fire Shield in this game, for that one room.
Exactly.
But
that
WallKicks,
shooter has hacked me too many times.
Yep. And while WallKicks was climbing the tower, Chelsea is on 7 crystals here. Just got to go through this portal, run over to the tower, get to the left side as quickly as possible, that Stalfos room, and then be on the climb herself.
He makes the full left play. There was that key sitting on the torch, so that would be enough just to climb right there.
Yeah,
plus the one in the pot.
There's the pot key there. Either of them on their own would be enough to climb with the Helmasaur key.
Yeah.
But having both means that you can skip that. Obviously, WallKicks with 4 keys in hand.
Let's opt for the safety refill with the anti-fairies. It's just one more Moldorm here. No issues there.
Pulling out Mirror, so not going to the Compass room after pulling those keys out of Hope room. And yeah, WallKicks on to Aga 2.
All right, time for a lesson in geometry.
Yeah, it's all about making triangles. Unfortunately, that triangle was not very good. That one turned out as well as it could have, considering the blue ball.
Chelsea finds that big key, immediately mirrors and dashes right back up to start her climb.
A nice 4-cycle Aghanim 2 there from WallKicks, which I like to say on that 2 is literally perfect, and you usually can't actually get it. 3 is ideal, considering you usually can't get 2. And 4, you're not going to lose any sleep over that at all.
Yeah.
So WallKicks in the Ganon fight as Chelsea is through this silly spike room. See, gets the Trident spin there. Yep. It's going to be clean 1 cycle there. Oh,
This
no,
is
it's
the
not.
1-and-1 actually.
Yeah,
Kind of got a little hecked up with the spear coming back.
Yeah, he didn't get that last spin off. So he's got to deal with this instead. Good use of the hookshot iframes there, though, to just keep hitting him. And that's going to be 1 cycle phase 2. Looks like the warps are being pretty nice on phase 3 Ganon here. Chelsea, unfortunately, her fire rod splash was not displaced enough to kill that Salphos, so she had to go cut it.
Nice triple from WallKicks to finish off Ganon.
Yeah, very well done setting that up.
Get your GGs in chat for WallKicks.
Yep. He'll wait out the fanfare here. He'll cross the bridge. And that is GG with a time of 1 hour, 36 minutes, and 3 seconds.
Ganon and his friends are dead. Game over.
Oh no, how unfortunate.
Well, his friends kind of moved all those items around, so they were mean to us.
Yeah, whoever placed that fire rod probably got a raise after this seed. And while Chelsea is climbing and lighting torches here, I do want to shout out again, the vast majority of the Triforce texts used in the tournament are community submitted. You can join the Discord if you're interested in submitting your own. And that link there is now in Twitch chat for anybody watching live.
Also gonna finish off Moldorm 2, opting to actually kill him this time instead of hovering.
Yeah, I'm not sure if she's looking at the race room had seen that the race is over, but Moldorm 2 is like hovering that. It's a time save, but the risk makes it one that you generally only go for at like world record levels of play. Or if you want to show off that you can.
And yet even Airy doesn't do it in his world record. Like, come on, Airy.
Yeah, look at it the other way. Aries so good that he doesn't need to do it.
Okay. Just more time saved for later, obviously.
Yeah, makes it easy to improve. Just run the exact same run, but hover this time. It's so easy, why hasn't he done it yet? But for the record, just for anybody watching that may not pick up, playing at the level that Airy and the other top NMG runners does is super difficult, and just replicating runs is not trivial.
By the way, nice 3-cycle Aga 2 there by Chelsea.
Yep. Saving a slight bit of time over WallKicks there, who needed 4. And we are going to have Chelsea dropping into a Ganon fight here. Also, yeah, we did apparently see in the credits that the shovel was just blocking the Cane of Burno, which puts that Fire Rod in logic, which puts the rest of Turtle Rock, including that Ether, in logic.
Also unfortunately missing the 1-in-1 Ganon, not playing nicely. Should be able to finish him off though. 12 quick slashes.
Yeah, especially using the hookshot iframes there to be able to slash while the circle of fire bats was expanding. Oof, no,
Oh,
unfortunately not.
Unfortunate.
It's okay, though. Just drop in and...
Okay, Chelsea dropping into Ganon for the first time.
Ganon,
a little bit behind
all his minions
WallKicks.
are incompetent. Unfortunately, no Triton spin for Chelsea there. But should get it, I think, this time?
Oh yeah, Ganon's in a much favorable position this time. I mean, the first
Yeah.
time, clearly.
Well, compared to the other part of Phase 1, definitely favorable. And that's going to be Chelsea moving on to Phase 3 Ganon. We see on WallKick side, 163 collection rate for a relatively middling Ganon's Tower key. That's not something that you're really proud of. Well, you won the race, but...
Yeah, I mean...
It is, unfortunately. It's more an indictment on the seed than on WallKick's play, because he played this seed well.
Right, yeah. The seed just was not kind, having the early dippable dungeons being pendants and having nothing versus the late game pendant dungeon having a go mode. Just kind of feels bad.
Yeah, and logical double dip pendant Turtle Rock. Who, why, how, it's silly. But hey, Chelsea, sword up, waiting out the fanfare. And that's crossing the bridge in a time of 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 59 seconds. So GG's to her as well. And we do have WallKicks in here with us. So GG, congratulations.
Hello, GG's. This seed, logically, is very dumb.
Yes.
We agree. Could not agree more.
You'll see why momentarily, as I do go figure out which of our invincibility items is behind the shovel.
The credits had spoiled that for you, and is of course the Cane of Burno.
Well, I did it anyways because I wasn't paying attention to that.
That's fair.
Yeah, curiosity is more satisfying. We do have Chelsea with us, so GG's, welcome.
GG's gamers.
G.
Hi, Chelsea.
Oh, it's you.
Oh, okay. Well,
My mortal enemy.
It's all friends together.
no. I made sure to absolutely destroy her.
Thank God.
So were you the one who put the fire rod in Mimic or in Spike Cave then?
I've already accepted my payment from Big Dunka, so it's all good.
He did not need to pay you. That was a waste of money. Dunka just wasted money out of himself. Yeah, no. I am perfectly fine being done. I did my thing. I lucked my way into a few wins. I'm good. I'm happy. Well, you didn't even need to win, though. That's all I'm saying. This is just a flex.
Yeah,
that is true.
Yeah.
The only thing you get out of this win, WallKicks, is improved bracket seating.
I know, right? Who needs improved bracket seating? I'm just gonna go all the way.
There you go.
I don't know if I don't know if my heart could have handled a tiebreaker. So I genuinely was just like, it's fine. But yeah, I almost, when I found that Samaria, I was this close to just making my happy way up to Turtle Rock, just being like, you know what? Can she get away with it again? Can she just luck her way into another win? But I was like, nah, I have too many other things to do, and I don't want to go up there and check one chest and be like, well, that was fun. Time to go elsewhere. So yeah, no, it was the objectively correct choice. It just wasn't the right choice at the time.
mean,
So
that's exactly why I did everything else before Turtle Rock, because it was just like, at that point, there's such a, it's realistic to think that your fire rod access is just in GT somewhere. And so why waste time doing, Turtle Rock when you can potentially skip it altogether, which is why I almost left after picking up that shovel, because I
we saw the hesitancy on your side.
that was either going to be Ether, Cape, or Berna. It was one of those three things. So I mirrored, and then I'm like, no, you just stay, just stay.
I would have been mad if he left, because that means I would have had to play more rando, and that's the worst thing that you could have done to me. You did this to me as a friend.
I did. I stayed in Turtle Rock because I care about you.
That's really kind of you. I appreciate it. But yeah, no, I'm super. Just it was at least kind of close-ish, even though my timer's still running on stream, so it looks like it was a lot worse. But it's fine.
I will say you were playing a very Crystal Dungeon heavy route.
Yeah.
Pretty much from the moment you got access to Hera, and that put you ahead on things right up until that Ether hunt at the end.
Yep, right until I, got Chelsea'd and checked everything except for the right place.
Yeah. I did not want to go up to Ether after picking up that mirror. I really was hoping that I could just combo Hera into GT. But
I'd found it, I think, early enough where I was all like, yeah, I'm gonna go up there, see what I find. It's a crystal.
Yeah, I mean.
So and then from there I just kind of bum rushed every crystal dungeon in the world and slowly got more and more stuff. Yeah, really, I don't know what time I got that Samaria, but there was a part of me that almost went to Turtle Rock, and it would have been spicy.
Would have been the play for sure.
Oh yeah.
That crystal dungeon chain was what, like Hammer and Hera plus Flippers and Desert, both given to you by the mirror.
Yeah.
And then that took you to Swamp and Ice, which got you the bow, which took you to Eastern and Pod, which suddenly you were on 6 crystals.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I did a lot of overworld just right there at the end.
Yeah, you cleaned up literally everything outside Turtle Rock, and I think you did do WallKicks.
Yep. Even going back in for Thieves Town Big Chest.
Yeah, no, I at least didn't. I, cleared that. I did the first 4, but then I didn't have to do like a triple dip nonsense thing.
Right. I did. Because.
Haha! I'm the real winner. I didn't have to do that.
It's true. And plus, you're the real winner that you don't have to move on to brackets.
Oh, bless. I'm smiling. I'm super smiling. So yeah, no, I'm pleased. I have no regrets. I appreciate Wally going out of his way to find that Berna for us. doing the Lord's work over here.
Just such a dumb logical chain of progression at that point.
The whole thing. Bombos unlocked so much too. It was crazy with going into Ice Palace and then there's the bow, and then that's where everything ever was. It's just, yeah. Logic wise, it's got to have like 500 spheres, I think.
I agree.
Good thing we're better than the logic.
Look, I almost wasn't. Sorry?
I did enjoy watching both of you put on this race.
This was such
right
a
up
good race between the two of you, by the way.
Yeah.
Good, that's all that matters.
At the end, kind of flipped the result, but it was still an entertaining watch for sure.
Yep. Rando's gonna rando. So no, it was definitely the better person won for sure. So I'm happy. Wally is my friend.
I'm just gonna pat myself on the back right now then.
Please do.
This is why we play the games instead of just like crowning Aerie, crowning Andy, that kind of thing.
Who?
Some nerds.
Never heard of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Who was some of it? They've got what 123 NMG time. I mean,
sounds
nerds.
Imagine playing this game for an hour and 23 minutes.
I mean, we just played it for an hour. And
I was gonna say.
No.
Yeah, you played it for the bigger number though. That's what really matters, right?
Yes.
Yeah, big flex.
Always. But thank you guys again. I'm
Yeah,
going to
thanks.
head out. Thanks to everyone who restreamed. And yeah, I will see everyone, I guess, in brackets. Scary.
Good luck. I just want to say go Aaron because he's up next on Restream, and I
Oh,
just want to support him.
nice.
So let's go Aaron. Woo!
Yep. We do have, on that note, we do have Mr. Scruff Ninja Tuna versus Mr. Aaron Snerd on this channel in about an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in that, check back at that time. On the schedule tonight, we've also got T-Stew versus Vextifer, also on this channel, 2 hours after that at 8:10 p.m. Eastern, which is about 3 hours and 10 minutes from now.
SpeedGaming 3 having all the rando hot tourney action that you could want for today.
Yep. And we do have Obscure Lifeform versus Darkened Sky was going on ALTTP Randomizer concurrent to this race. It may still be going on. I have no idea what the state of that race is, but something to check out in the immediate term if you're watching this live. But with all that said, I've been Reg. My comm partner tonight's been WallKicks. Our tracker was Toffel. Our runners were awesome. And I will give Walla the last word. See you guys some other race.
Just want to shout out WallKicks and ChelseyxLynn once again. Be sure to follow them. Their links are in chat right now. Our links are there if you care, but we deserve none of the credit. Give them, they're amazing. That's going to do it for Group A. We will see WallKicks and Big Dunka on to brackets. And until next time, be sure to follow all the SpeedGaming channels, Prime, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many there are, all the ALTTPR channels. And yeah, if you want to watch more rando, stay right here, and we will see you all in the next race. Have a good night, everybody.